Welcome to lesson 2 of Unit 4, and today we're going to be talking about motion in a coordinate plane. So we're going to be talking about how we can move shapes that in the coordinate plane, or basically we're going to be graphing all day long. So the first type of motion that we're going to be looking at is translation. If you guys remember, translation is when you shift an object, so we're going to be shifting it up, down, left, right, whatever direction we want to. And I'm going to show you guys, this is my pre-image right here, and this is my image, the pre-image after I've moved it. And I want to figure out, what did I do to get from this point to this point? What did I do to the coordinates? And so I'm going to first off kind of draw a point here. I'm going to use these 2 points to help me out in figuring out how I got from this to this. So this is what's going to happen. I'm going to start off with the x-axis, and I'm going to figure out what type of movement I did along the x-axis to get from this point to this point. So along the x-axis, I moved 1, 2, 3 points backwards. So move backwards 3 units. That's what I did to get from this point to this point along the x-axis. Once again, the x-axis is your horizontal line. And then the y-axis. What did I have to do to get from this point to this point along the y-axis? Once again, I'm going to start with my pre-image, and I'm going to move down, it looks like. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 units down. So I'm going to move down 4 units. Now I'm going to show you what this all looks like in a coordinate, in coordinates. So here I have my pre-image. I'm going to call my pre-image, we'll call this point A. So on my pre-image, I'm going to call this point A, and then on my image, if you guys remember, you have to put that apostrophe, so I'm going to call that A apostrophe. And with my pre-image, I'm going to call A just X and Y. We're going to keep it general for right now. And then to get to my image, I'm going to put, once again, the A prime, or the A apostrophe. And according to this, in order to get from my pre-image to my image, I had to move the x-axis backwards 3 units. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to move my x-axis, my x point, 3 units. So I'm going to say x minus, because I have to go backwards 3 units. So I'm going to say 3. So x minus 3 is how I got from this point to this point. And then for my y, according to this, I move my y point down 4 units. So since I'm going to go down, once again I'm going to say minus, and then I moved down 4 units. So I'm going to say y minus 4. And this rule hopefully will work for all of the points that are in this triangle. I'm going to try it out just to make sure. I'm going to use, I'll color this point in purple. And I want to see if this rule follows from this point to this point. So according to this, I'm going to, on the x-axis, I'm going to move backwards 3 units. 1, 2, 3. From the pre-image, I went backwards 3 units. And then, on the y-axis, I'm going to move down 4 units. So from that spot, I'm going to move down 4 units, and hopefully I'll get to my image point. 1, 2, 3, 4. And sure enough, that rule does work, and it will work for every single point along this triangle. If you move backwards 3 units and move down 4 units, you will get to this triangle. So the rule of translation goes like this. You know that you are dealing with translation is if you are adding or subtracting numbers from x and y. If I see that I'm subtracting numbers or adding numbers, that is telling me that I am shifting my object. I'm translating my object. The second thing that we're going to look at is reflection, which is another transformation. If you remember, reflection is when you flip across a line. So we're going to take our object, this is our pre-image, and we're going to flip it across the y-axis. And so we will very often use the x-axis or the y-axis to flip our object. And so then this is our image right here. So this is our pre-image and this is our image. And I just put points on 3 of them just to show you guys something. And on our pre-image, what I'm going to do is I want to find the coordinates for A, B, and C. So I'm going to look at A, and I know that I go -2 and up 3. So the coordinate for A is -2, 3. The coordinate for B is going to be, well, -1, 2, 3, 4. That's my x. And 1, 2, 3, 4. That's my y. So -4, 4 is going to be the coordinate for B. And then the coordinate for C, and once again I'm going to go negative on my x-axis, 1, 2, 3, 4. So -4, and then up 1, 2. So -4, 2 is going to be my coordinate for C. So that's what all of the coordinates are for the pre-image. Now I want to look at the coordinates for the image. So for A prime, or A apostrophe, A prime is the correct mathematical way to say that. So for A prime, I'm going to write down the coordinate of this point right here. And that's going to be, if I go over 2, so I'm going to go in the positive direction, +1, +2, that's going to be my x. And my y is up 1, 2, 3. So A prime's coordinate is 2, 3. B prime's coordinate is going to be over 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 is going to be my x. And 1, 2, 3, 4 is going to be my y. And now C prime. I'm going to look at the coordinate for what C prime is. So I'm going to go over 1, 2, 3, 4. And up 1, 2. Now I'm going to compare my coordinates. Here I have my pre-image coordinates, and here I have my image coordinates. If you guys notice, everything is practically identical. The only difference is that all of the x's in the pre-image are negative, and all of the x's in the image are positive. And that is going to be the helper for our rule. So our rule for reflection is going to be this. We're going to place a negative in front of the x or in front of the y coordinate. And by doing that, that will show that we are doing a reflection. So for instance, if my pre-image was x comma y, then my image is going to be the opposite of that, the negative of all of this. So this was a -2. If I have a -2, that got me the 2. So in order to reflect along the y-axis, I put a negative in front of my x. And that's going to be a little bit backwards than probably what we're used to. If I put the negative in front of the x, I'm reflecting along the y-axis. So it's opposite. If the negative is in front of the x, then I'm along the y-axis. If the negative is in front of the y, I'm reflecting across the x-axis. So it seems it's opposite. If it's in front of the x, then you have a y, you're reflecting along the y-axis, and if the negative is in front of the y, you're reflecting along the x-axis.